It's been another quarter of a year, and we're back with more Black Clover goodness. First off, sorry that this video is very late. I was on vacation, so I was not able to do any kind of recording for these new chapters that we got for Black Clover, and we got 3 new chapters this time, and I loved every single one of them. Mainly because we actually got a few characters showing up that I was concerned were never going to show up in the story. We had a really good fight with Yuno and Lucius right now, and obviously we got to see what's going on with Asta. So, a lot of stuff is happening in these couple of chapters, but we're going to get into that in just a second. But before we jump into these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps make sure you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Also, if you want to see me talk about other manga, go and check out my weekly manga podcast, Shonen Pulse, over on the Panel Focus YouTube channel, where me, Nox, and Yadogami talk about 9 separate manga from 3 different magazines. It's a lot of fun. We are very, very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I really think you guys will enjoy. You might even find a new manga that you guys might want to pick up at some point, or just watch randomly just to see us talk about and make up bullshit about what's going on. You'll have a good time. And also, if you haven't already, go and check out my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about comic books. Right now, I'm mostly covering DC stuff, but I'm planning to expand onto some other comics as well, as I'm reading more comic books on the side as well. It's a passion project of mine, and I would really appreciate if you guys go to check it out. That is also almost at 1,000 subscribers too, which is something I was not expecting. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into this latest chapter of Black Clover. Starting off with chapter 381, titled The Ultimate Mage. And I just gotta stop. Again, we have another beautiful color spread by Tabata, giving us basically every important character in Black Clover. It is really great. Tabata knows how to make these types of color spreads look amazing. And the detail he gives for all of these characters is just absolutely incredible. I love it whenever this happens. And it kind of makes the quarterly wait worth it just to see these color spreads more often. But now, on to the chapter. As we start off directly from the last chapter with Yuno being given Asta's sword, and now has temporary anti-magic as Lucius is looking on, and literally says, "Oh, that is not good." And the one that made this happen is almost a corpse, referring to Asta, as he tells Yuno flat out, "Yeah, I knew it. You really are the most dangerous one." Now, I believe he means, at least in this instance, it's Yuno, since he has anti-magic temporarily thanks to Asta, but he does acknowledge that all this shit is happening because of Asta. So yeah, I just love that Lucius is like, "Oh crap, this ain't good right now." As he then just launches again a large span of attacks against Yuno, but Yuno then counters with a black tornado fang, encasing his wind magic with anti-magic to break through the barrage of spells and go on to strike Lucius. But Lucius then dodges out of the way, as Yuno realizes just how heavy the Demon Dweller sword is, and acknowledging once again just how physically stronger Asta is for having to swing around something as heavy as that sword. And it's then that Lucius manages to appear right behind Yuno and hits him back, saying that when it comes to anti-magic, he has to be even more cautious than usual. But it's then that Yuno uses his star magic encased with anti-magic to create a bunch of rays towards Lucius to try and hit him, but Lucius continues to dodge out of the way as Yuno continues to fall. The two of them land on a building, and Yuno tries to land a black crescent moon sickle right at Lucius, destroying buildings, but Lucius does dodge out of the way. But Yuno then appears in front of Lucius to try and slash him with his sword. But Lucius does manage to partially block it with his own sword that he generated. Now this was hard to tell at first, but it shows Yuno managed to break through the sword, but Lucius managed to get out of the way without Yuno realizing it and appears right behind him, as we see that he used transparency magic to get away from Yuno. If we remember, this is from the former Purple Orca captain. He was able to completely encase his own presence. The only one that was able to find him was Asta due to reading Ki, and since Yuno doesn't have that, well, Yuno has no way of countering transparency magic. And taking this to his advantage, Lucius tries to use his soul magic by touching the one spot on Yuno that isn't covered in anti-magic, so that he can turn him into an archangel, into a paladin, so that he can be under his control and not be of any threat to him. But in the last second, Yuno uses not just his anti-magic, but his star magic to redo his monozone Neverland as Black Neverland. And since Lucius appeared behind him, his magic started to disappear. meaning that transparency was undone, and now soul magic and time magic isn't going to work in this instance. And so Yuno goes to try and slash at Lucius once he notices him there, but Lucius manages to dodge and leave the Black Neverland, as he actually gets a scratch on his face, saying how that's a bit of impressive, but he's going to have to whittle away at that anti-magic that Yuno has until it runs out. But Yuno's not taking any of his shit because he's saying that before this does run out, he's gonna be dead. But it's then that we take a break from this fight and transition back to Noelle, as she is facing her re-resurrected mother, Acier, as a true paladin, archangel-esque creature that's more warped in its appearance. And Noelle has no magic left. She cannot fight back. And so as Acier is getting ready to try and kill her own daughter, Leona shows up, punching Acier back, as she tells Noelle to leave, and that's not her mother anymore, saying that she'll be the one to get rid of this corrupted Acier. So we have Leona being set up to take on this newly resurrected paladin Acier right now, which honestly would be a really cool fight if we see it. We'll have to see what happens. This could go off screen or just be bounced back and forth for all we know. We then get a big bit of a panel showcasing the anti-magic infused star magic that Yuno had, and we cut to Asta in front of Mimosa. So as we all thought, Yuno transferred Asta to Mimosa using star magic, as he was unconscious. Well, Asta and Libe. And so his wounds are very, very bad, and the only thing that can actually help is by using ultimate magic. But that will require her to use all of the magic that she has right now, because she would have to channel everything she has into healing. Normally this wouldn't be an issue, but the issue right now is that she's literally attending and keeping alive a boatload of magic knights who are fatally wounded. And so, to save Asta with all of her strength, she would have to basically let everybody else that's dying die, basically, or succumb to their injuries. And so she's caught between a rock and a hard place, as she doesn't want to pick one over the other. But it's then that all of the injured magic knights tell her to just heal Asta, and that they need him to fight in order to win. They need his power to save the kingdom, which shocks Mimosa. But before she can fully react, another angel appears as it tries to attack them. But the wounded magic knights go to protect her, as she gets Asta in a garden and then begins to run away with him in order to find a place and time to heal him, saying that she swears she'll save him, and she's going to save Asta no matter what. But she's cut off by a revived Morris, as he cuts off her path, saying that he's not going to let her do anything and let the flaw of the world be a problem for his master Lucius. But right as he's towering over Mimosa, someone calls out and says that Asta is not a flaw, and it's then as the chapter ends, in a 2-page spread, all of the Diamond Kingdom characters that we have met in the early part of the series have showed up, including Mars, this generation's Fauna, and Asta's Sword Master, another Shining General, as they all show up to protect Asta, with Mars saying that Asta is his friend, ending chapter 381, leading us right into chapter 382, with Mars saying that just as he promised, he's here to help out Asta, which goes all the way back to the Witch's Forest arc, with Asta helping Mars save his friend, and the two of them basically forming an alliance of sorts. And we have not seen him in like 200 chapters, so better late than never, I guess. I have thoughts on the Diamond Kingdom mages coming in, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But with the Diamond Kingdom Knights showing up, they're all ready to help Mimosa protect Asta and take on Morris, as these guys also have a bone to pick with Morris, as he's done a bunch of horrific experiments on children, especially in their kingdom, for the war efforts, and also led to basically the betrayal of the kingdom in order to help the Spade Nation with the Dark Triad's full takeover and invasion previously too. So that's a lot to really take in. But Morris isn't really taken aback by this, as he kind of sees them as failures or old projects he did as a kid that kind of make him feel ashamed, and that they're just ghosts of the past for him. But someone off screen says that Morris is the ghost of the past. Even without the body modifications, they've grown stronger, as a brand new character appears with with the Earth Golem spirit behind her. As it's revealed, this is another one of the 8 Shining Generals of the Diamond Kingdom we did not see, whose name is Faramina, and the host of the Spirit of Earth. So, to many people, we were missing like one of these elemental spirits. We've had 2 water spirits, we've had a fire spirit, and we've had the wind spirit. We just never saw the earth spirit. Now we get confirmation on who has the earth spirit, and it is basically seemingly the last remaining member of the Shining Generals that we have seen. I'd have to go back to see how many of these generals we have seen in the story thus far, but she's probably the last one for us to see, and she looks awesome, I have to say. The scars, the outfit, everything looks amazing, just exuding aura as she's ready to take on Morris. And we then get a 2-page spread showcasing all the Diamond Kingdom mages using all of their power at once and abilities to go and take down Morris. So yeah, this is a really, really cool double-page spread. I'm happy these characters are here, and they're getting ready to take on Morris. I hope when the anime does return and adapts this section of the story, which by the time the anime gets to this part, the manga will probably be over. I do hope that if it's not expanded, at least we see bits and pieces of this fight in the manga, it will be expanded in the anime to be like an episode or 2 to see what these characters are fully capable of. And I really do appreciate it. But yeah, they tell Mimosa to take Asta and leave in order to go heal him. So now let's get into my thoughts on the Diamond Kingdom Knights showing up. I'm happy, but also at the same time, it just feels like it came out of nowhere. While this is the final arc, the final battle of the series, and it makes sense for multiple characters to show up and help, I legitimately believe we should have gotten a Diamond Kingdom arc with Asta helping out Mars to solidify their friendship and the fact that they're allies right now, and this would make them showing up to help Asta in his, like, that most dire moment hit even more. Because, like I said, it's been practically 200 chapters since the last time we have seen Mars and these characters from the Diamond Kingdom, and not only that, we got introduced into a new Shining General. This just kind of feels like it should have been something that we should have seen in the manga, to introduce Faramina, the Earth Spirit, and all the stuff that's going on in the Diamond Kingdom, because, like, stuff happens. Then again, there was a 1.5-year time skip, so for all we know, before the anime gets into the final arc of the story, they could just do like a little in-between arc where Asta has to help the Diamond Kingdom just to like pad out some time before the final arc of the story, like how the anime gave us some anime-only arcs between the Elf arc and the Triad Invasion arc. So that's something that could have been done. For all we know, then again, it would kind of leave the lingering thing of Lucius in the background because we'd still have that reveal going on. But they could also just add a thing where Lucius just helped aid in some stuff thanks to Morris being with him at some point or something, just to like pad out some time so we could actually get his plan into motion, and that would have taken 1 year and 9 months or something like that. So that could be the case. That would be a smart thing for the anime to do if they want to pad out some time, especially if the manga hasn't fully completed yet, and it's like maybe 1 or 2 chapters away, or maybe they just want to have real full seasons of the show. But that's just my speculation. Would have been nice to have a bit of a Diamond Kingdom arc to previously introduce this last Shining General and her powers. That would be even more hype when she shows up with Mars and the rest to help out Asta, and kind of gives her a reason to show up. Beyond, getting rid of Morris, the stain of their kingdom, and helping out these other Shining Generals that are friends of hers. So that's a whole thing. But my thoughts on the Diamond Kingdom characters takes a backseat as we now transition back to Yuno, as he continuously still fights on against Lucius. And this is kind of a blink and you'll miss it because they're so small, but as Yuno is using his Black Wind Blade Shower, if we zoom in, these look like the Pawn Knights that the Wizard King Princia used, the 11th Wizard King Princia used in the Sword of the Wizard King movie when she fought against Leona. So, yeah, this is really cool, and also to the people that think that the movie isn't canon, even though it was stated by Tabata and everything that it is, here's more proof that at least the characters and stuff is canon to the lore and story of Black Clover. But that is honestly a really nice thing to see. Yuno destroys all of them and goes on to keep clashing with Lucius, as Lucius is still collectively trying to get Yuno to think that he's still in control of this fight. And basically says, are you going to try and protect the kingdom and its citizens before the anti-magic runs out and everything? as we get to see a bunch of the angels getting ready to destroy more of these innocent citizens in the Clover Kingdom. But it's then that the Snow Mage, from all the way back in that one arc where the Midnight Sun tried to abduct kids and all that stuff that was going on, and the introduction of pottery and all that, uses their magic to try and stop one of the angels, but it's not working, as then more characters show up, as we see a 2-page spread with these cubes and everything, and we get the reveal that it is the Branch Zero division of the Magic Tool Research Lab. So, even more characters from the movie, like the current lead researcher who's in charge of all this, as she is with Sally, and I forget the teleporter guy's name. So, they all showed up, and Nero is very happy that they managed to make it in time. And we get some reveals with this, because, well, Sally reveals that with all the experiments she did with Asta, and learning how helping people was actually a good thing, that she's finally starting to get why Asta said that using her knowledge would help people and actually make her like her research more. We get some stuff happening, as one of the scientists fires a pistol, or a magic pistol, I guess, at one of the corrupted angels through a portal that one of the guys is using, and Sally reveals that due to making actual research through Asta's magicless body, she invented a gun that disrupts the magic circuits, I guess, in someone's body. And for 5 seconds, they cannot use magic, and it's working against Lucius's corrupted angels. And so now, everyone has a way to fight back, because using all these, these angels can't use magic, and they're practically useless right now, so everybody can actually fight back. But it's then that another person shows right up. Hadn't seen him in a while, but it is Rodus, the guy with Wraith magic, or Soul Corpse manipulation magic. He jumps in and grabs onto the angel and uses his Wraith magic to literally pull out the corrupted souls that were used to make these things, and basically send them back to heaven, releasing their souls from Lucius's control. And in that instance, the corrupted angel ends up getting dissipated as the souls are finally laid to rest. And when that happens, at first we're like, oh, the kingdom were kind of scared of him, calling him a monster, that he managed to do it. But then they just shout out and cheer and applause for Rodus, and he managed to take out the angel, and that his magic was awesome. And he thinks back to the moment when Asta was telling him about, even though this power is such a waste and that he should use it to help people, he just has this very, sullen look on his face that he realizes that Asta was right about everything all along. And from that, we also get to see more citizens being attacked by angels. But in a 2-page spread, we get more people coming to help, and it is the elves. Specifically, Patri and Raiha showing up to help, with another brief panel of collages of moments where Asta manages to talk into Patri to get his act together and actually make up for everything, as he says that he swears on the power of the elves that this time they'll protect the humans. With Mimosa watching on, thanks to Lucius broadcasting everything, with Mimosa saying to Asta that even his old enemies are his allies now, as that ends chapter 382. So that whole chapter basically amounted to everybody that Asta has ever affected in previous arcs coming back to help him in the climax of this story. Very Final War-esque moments in Black Clover right now, so really great. I'm liking how it's done for the most part. The elves I was hoping to show up at some point at the bare minimum. Diamond that had a problem with mainly the execution, that we didn't really get to see them for 200 chapters before this happened, but that's just me. I think other people probably would agree on me that we probably needed more of the Diamond Kingdom characters before they showed up. But either way, that's great. We're also getting more movie characters and anime-only characters coming in to help, like the Branch Zero of the Magic Tool lab coming in to help. We know that Nero in the movie was actually part of that group and helping developing magic tools, because that's her whole thing. And they develop something that disrupts magic circuits for a few seconds, so that gives lower ranking or weaker knights the ability to fight. So honestly, really great. Love it. It's doing very well. I'm happy with it so far. But let's move on to chapter 383 of Black Clover, titled Yearning, as Yuno keeps his fight against Lucius going, keeping his Black Neverland active, as he's fighting against this giant guardian of ice with a cathedral shaped in ice that is the magic of another previous Wizard King, Edward, the 20th Wizard King. So, yeah, that is something that I was not expecting, but again, we saw Princia's magic previously. For all I know, I missed Jester's magic in the past chapters, for all we know. But this is definitely something that Tabata is using to just showcase more of the magic and at least drawing the abilities of the previous Wizard Kings that he came up with for the movie. So this is definitely more of like saying that these characters are canon at the bare minimum. And we could also say that the events movies are canon. So there's that. Honestly, really cool, nice fan servicey moment to hype you up for this chapter. Yuno then uses his star magic to use the Quintil Artem Flagia, which is just a black whip of star magic to completely destroy the ice golem and everything around. But Lucius then tries to launch a giant light sword at Yuno, but Yuno uses the star magic again to create another star magic spell, Quintil Atrum Scutum, that absorbs the light magic, basically nullifying it, and then Yuno turns it into a 5-pointed star of star anti-magic. It then launches another Quintil Atrum attack, Hasta, launching a beam of anti-magic right at Lucius, and as he dodges, him and Yuno clash swords again, and the two of them, after striking each other, land on floating rubble, staring down at each other once more. With Yuno really calling out Lucius right now, saying how he's been getting a lot more desperate in this fight, and that he really is scared of Asta right now. And trying to twist the knife further by goading him about his time magic and the ability to predict stuff from the future, saying that, did you manage to predict Asta's old enemies leveling up and taking his side? I guess your foresight genuinely doesn't work on him, huh? But Lucius tries to brush this aside, saying it's nothing, and that right now it's just a battle of attrition, saying it won't go for long. Just like your borrowed anti-magic. As he's looking over as he sees where Mimosa is with Asta, telling him, see? What did I tell you? As Mimosa is out of breath, trying to run away and get out to a safe location to heal Asta, but she is once again surrounded by these angels, as they're getting ready to attack her. But it's then her older brother, Kirsch, shows up to obscure the vision of these angels to protect his sister. And basically kind of passive-aggressive towards an unconscious Asta, saying, look at how lucky you are that you're going to have my sister protect you while you're down. What happened to all the vigor you showed when you beat my ass previously? I'm paraphrasing here, but that's basically what he's saying. And as these angels are going on, we actually get to see Longris show up and wipe out an angel single-handedly, saying that he might not have been an actual battle, but he did kind of beat him previously. And he can't take that lying down. But the angel is starting to regenerate, with Longris showing his frustration that they really bounce back fast. But it's then that Leo shows up, taking out more angels with a burst of fire magic, and we actually get to see him. He has a bunch of magic formulas from Mana Method around his body, boosting his power to an absurd level, seemingly. This is something I haven't seen. It's really cool, and showcasing just what Leo is doing to make himself stronger. But Lucius, as he's seeing all this happen, says that right now they're just buying time right now. And no matter how often they defeat them, the angels will keep rising again over and over again, as the allies right now are looking at each other and thinking back to everything that Asta said to them about what his goal is in becoming the Wizard King and showcasing his strength and hard work and determination, as the two of them, two stubborn-ass royals, say that they acknowledge Asta now, saying, didn't you get stronger so that we could fight together? Telling Asta to get up and take down Lucius. As they keep fighting, Mimosa is starting to have basically a panic attack. She is wondering if she's not going to be able to make it in time and thinking that it's going to be similar to what happened when they fought Lucifero, with Asta having to try and get up while he's still incredibly injured, and that she won't be able to send them back to the battlefield in proper shape. But it's then Charmy and Finral show up, so Charmy gives her magic food to Mimosa so that she can recharge and help get Asta back to full strength. She chows down and then finally has her power replenished to activate her ultimate plan magic, Flower Princess Utopia. In order to save Asta and the world, she uses it, and finally, as an angel begins to reform, Asta slashes through in an instant to protect Mimosa as it tries to attack her from behind, as Asta is back up in the fight, as Mimosa thanks him for protecting her, Asta shouts out to Lucius, saying that he's coming for him, as now Asta is back up and ready to fight at full strength, with the chapter ending. Also, I like this little thing that now Asta has 2 slash marks across his chest that make an X kind of like Luffy's now. I don't know if that's Tabata's way of just having a One Piece reference. I'm a One Piece fan, so I'm just probably seeing things that probably aren't there, but I just find it pretty funny and cool. But yeah, the chapter ends, and now we have to wait another 3 to 4 months for the next batch of Black Clover chapters. But overall, not much in terms of full-on plot progression, I guess. We get to see more of these characters showing up to protect Asta. We get to see his effect on his former enemies and allies, how he's helped them grow stronger, and how now they've all acknowledged his strength and determination throughout the course of the series. Having a Diamond Kingdom character show up, while I said my piece about wishing we had more of these characters before they showed up at the very end of the series to help Asta, I am happy about this. And we also got the final of the 4 elemental spirits showing up with another Diamond General, whose design, again, love her design 100%. Wish we had an arc where we get to see more of her, but hey, that's just me, I guess. And the elves showing up to help, the science research team from the movie, and confirmation on magic from the previous Wizard Kings from the Wizard King movie, and being Nakba's like slight way of saying that the movie was canon, or at least the characters from the movie are canon, if people don't believe that the light novel before the movie came out was canon to the story, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm being passive aggressive. The movie's canon. If you don't believe it at this point, I don't know what to tell you. And then Mimosa getting back up with the help of Charmy and Vinroll with fully replenished power to bring Asta back to 100% health. So now he is going to go over to Lucius and help fight him with Yuno, and we just got to see what happens next. But yeah, these were great chapters. I liked them. While it did amount to literally buying time, the fight with Lucius and Yuno was really cool. We got to see a lot of anti-magic infused star power attacks and wind attacks, so that was more than worth it, and I cannot wait to see this stuff get animated. But what did you guys think of these chapters? Let me know your thoughts and opinions and theories of what will happen next in the comment section down below. And what's more, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Shows you like what I make here on the channel, and it shows you want to see more. I can't wait for future Black Clover when that comes out. I will be sure to try and keep covering this until it concludes, so look forward to more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.